This is like a class A substance for people that are into spirituality, that are into self-development, growth, change through spiritual practices. Because we're so addicted to it that we don't even realize it. It's almost part of our nature to look for it when we're practicing these practices. Hello and welcome to Productively Mindful. My name is ailandas.sulcas and I talk about everything mindfulness and spirituality several times a week. So if that's something that you're interested in, make sure you hit subscribe, click that notification bell to get notified the next time I post a video. So what is it? What is it that's so addictive to all of us spirituality practitioners? And to be fair, not just spirituality practitioners, to everyone. What is it? It is plain and simple. It is suffering. Why is something that is considered to be negative so addictive? And it's actually a surprisingly easy answer, because the reason why we get addicted to substances and why I was addicted to substances a while ago was because we inherently look for a state of comfort, a state of permanence, a state of familiarity. We go through our lives chasing a state of equilibrium where there's not too much fear, there's not an overwhelming amount of joy, but we want to stay in this equilibrium where we feel comfortable, where we don't feel like we are being pulled to one extreme from a different extreme. And this is essentially the teaching of the Tao, teaching of balance, one of the most profound teachings of spirituality that came from China. We want to find balance in life, but being addicted to an extreme is not how you will find balance, right? So why is suffering so addictive? Why am I even referring to suffering as opposed to, I don't know, why is happiness so addictive? Well, happiness is addictive for obvious reasons. Is because it is the natural state of our being, where we want to be as beings of spirituality, as beings that are part of the underlying essence of nature. We want to be happy. We always want to be happy because we are inherently pulled to the nature of who we are, being the connectedness, the all-encompassing consciousness. But it's also important to know that happiness is not permanence. It's not a state of permanence. You won't permanently be happy. You can be content, you can be in peace permanently, but you cannot be happy permanently because it's a fleeting sensation, right? Now, the reason why we stay stuck in suffering for so long, sometimes our whole lives, is because we get comfortable in it, like I said. But what happens is when we get presented with a sensation of happiness, with contentment, with peace, a sort of resistance builds up to what is happening, even though if the flow of events has no underlying malicious intent or even the possibility of being negative or damaging to you. We will struggle to feel comfort in it because it's unfamiliar. We are so comfortable with suffering that we completely disregard the possibility that perhaps this positivity, this happiness, this contentment, this peace that's taking place right now is because the events that unfolded in front of you unfolded in a way that was just supposed to happen. It is how it's supposed to happen. And fighting it gives more comfort because it gives you more suffering. It gives you contentment, even though it's negative contentment. It gives you contentment in the moment as opposed to perpetual contentment through the hard practice, the hard work, through self-discovery and shadow work and facing that suffering full on, head on, and overcoming it as it arises. But we always try to mute our suffering through different kinds of suffering. So if we are, for example, suffering from low self-worth, for example, like I talked about before, when we get presented with a compliment, you will create another suffering in your mind that's going to be resisting the potential happiness, the potential contentment, by creating suffering in your mind, reinforcing either what you believe or creating a different kind of explanation as to why this sudden positivity is happening that you should not be experiencing at all. What happens essentially, you keep stacking suffering upon suffering. And this is something that has become apparent for me, especially with self-worth, low self-worth, is when I get a compliment or get told something good about me, I notice that I start resisting it because it's uncomfortable. And it's a very important thing to realize, to become aware of, because you can only deal with things if you're aware of them, right? It's kind of obvious, right? You need to build the awareness to be able to overcome certain situations, feelings, sensations that you experience through life because they give you discomfort. But it's very difficult to realize that if you're comfortable in discomfort, if you're comfortable in suffering. So perhaps if you know what is right for you, what is good for you, what is positive for your existence, your very being, but then when you get presented with that, you resist it. Be aware of what's happening. Because if you become aware of the fact that you're resisting, that you're having this conversation with yourself in your mind, trying to explain why this goodness is taking place and making me feel this way, you will be able to overcome it, understand it, and let it flow through you in a way that it's never going to hurt you again. That is the shadow work that you need to do. That is the kind of work that you need to understand the importance of, to be able to grow and heal yourself beyond your wildest imaginations. The more of this kind of work you do, the more you'll understand that it isn't what happiness isn't what you're really seeking, because happiness is fleeting. What you're seeking for is contentment. It's just that you're stuck in a different type of contentment, a negative contentment that doesn't allow you to grow and heal fully. There's the smallest amount of resistance sitting there in your subconscious that's just resisting the natural flow of life, the events that present you with opportunities to grow and actually start cultivating that sense of contentment, or even fleeting happiness that will eventually go to a baseline of contentment and peace. This is the kind of work that you should be looking for and not avoiding. And remember one thing: if you are addicted to suffering, your mind is addicted to surviving and not thriving. And the only way your mind will thrive, as a tool, as something that has been created with the intention to help you be as efficient as possible, for that to be as efficient as possible, you need to remove the unnecessary functions within it, like that perpetual chatter, the internal mind conversation with itself. When it comes to these situations where you're presented with goodness and you fight it back because you're used to suffering, because you're so addicted to negativity and making yourself suffer for no reason, you need to learn how to thrive and not just survive. Your mind is an incredible tool that you will only be able to use once you realize that the tool is abusing you. The tool is making a tool out of you. You are the awareness, you are the consciousness, and you have the control of your mind. You just need to recultivate it, because it's always there. It has always been there. You just lost touch with it. This is the whole healing process. So perhaps if you're addicted to suffering, that is a big thing that you need to work on. Why you're addicted to suffering. Find out the underlying issues. Find out the reasoning why this problem has occurred, why you cannot appreciate yourself, why do you want to suffer, why do you want to embrace negativity, why not positivity, why not happiness, why not contentment, why not peace. Contentment and peace is where our existence stems from. It is all encompassing. It is the baseline of life. If you do not know where to even begin, how to start figuring out why you're so addicted to suffering, why you're struggling in life, why you're stressed, why you're anxious, with seemingly no solutions for why that's happening and how to resolve it, I offer a free 1-hour conversation that you can find underneath this video. If you click on the link tree, the booking link is going to be there. A mindfulness and spirituality guide. So this is exactly what I do. I help people move through difficult scenarios in their life through spiritual and mindful means. A very alternative approach to a conventional life. But 99% of the time, it feels more real and helpful than trying to solve the symptoms as opposed to try to solve the problem. If you did enjoy the video, click like, share, comment, subscribe. Let's have a discussion underneath. Do you agree with what I said, or do you disagree? I'm always eager to learn about different perspectives in terms of the topics that I speak about, because everything that I speak about comes from my heart, deep within my experience of life. This has been ailandas.sulcas from Productively Mindful. I love you all. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will speak to you very, very soon. Goodbye.